Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. This is Red Dissection and we are here to analyze Manchester United defeat against FC Copenhagen 3-4 in Denmark. United started off spectacularly. I think they controlled the ball, controlled the tempo of the game, got the early goal, a good move by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, reversing the ball for McTominay who ran from midfield and a simple cross and tap in for Rasmus Højlund. Another goal on the counter attack. Bruno with the ball to Garnacho, who shot at the goal. He could have squared the ball easily for Højlund, but he took the shot well within his rights, and Højlund got the tap in. 2-0 up, cruising. Johnny Evans got injured. Varane came on in. He looked shaky. He didn't look confident. It didn't look like that he wanted to be there to play for the manager. There's something going on there, certainly. Uh, then the moment of the match happened. Rashford got the red card, even though I don't think it was a red card. But when I saw even in real time, when I saw that the way the player went down, Copenhagen player, and I could see that uh, there was a studs on challenge, not necessarily a challenge, but certainly a collision. I fear the worst, and in these matches in the Champions League, if you give them the referee a chance, even an inch, they'll certainly make a mile out of it. And even though I don't think it was a red card because there was no intention, but it certainly was a poor challenge, and he got the red card. The red card was the beginning of the end. You could sense that they will capitulate, they will collapse. It's in the DNA. All the players, even the manager, we've seen this. Once we are stuck with a tragedy, with a setback, we just crumble, and you could see that the confidence was zapped completely out of the team. I mean, straight away we conceded the first goal, a poor goal to concede. There's so many players in the box, yet he got a free shot, and Varane couldn't block that simple. I think it was a weak shot. Onana should have saved it as well. Then a penalty is a gaff. I mean, completely gomless penalty given by Harry Maguire, and you could sense that we won't be able to stem that tide. And even before the halftime whistle, we conceded 2 goals and could have conceded another. In the second half, we control the game again, just keeping the ball in a back line, not threatening, no danger to their goal. Uh, Amrabat came on in for Ericsson. Didn't do much, to be fair. It wasn't a good performance for Amrabat, but he kept the ball, and we were like playing for the draw, a possible counter attack, and we could have gotten a winner. That was the whole plan, and that's what happened. We got a penalty, not a stone wall. It went away. Bruno scored again. Excellent composure by Bruno, even though he wasn't having a good match. But that was a good penalty, pressure penalty. So he did well. But even then, you know what this team is capable. You know what these players are like. They will capitulate. They don't have the corners. They don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the fortitude of character to face these kind of challenges. They will whittle. You know this. We've seen this. These players will just give up. 10 minutes to go, one goal ahead, even after all the challenges. Yet we gave away two scrappy goals. I mean, we were sinking deeper and deeper. I don't understand. I mean, we saw against Chelsea, Tottenham had like 2 red cards. Even then, they were attacking. Even then, the back line was pressing up. And our back line with Harry Maguire and Varane, they just sunk deeper and deeper into a goal, and it was a matter of time before a ricochet went to the player and they scored. Dalo was abysmal, completely switched off for the third goal. It was an easy goal, a scrappy one for us to give away, and you knew the winner was coming in. It was coincidentally a player named Rooney who scored the winner, but you could sense that this team is not it's not worth the salt. The name on the back of the shirt doesn't do justice to the badge in the front of the shirt. It was embarrassing, shambolic capitulation by Manchester United. Coming to statistics, we had even possession of the ball. We did well keeping the possession, especially after getting down to 10 men. But our possession wasn't threatening. We got I thought, a fortunate penalty. The expected goal was higher for us, mostly down to our first half performance. Uh, Same number of shots on target. Sadly, they were like having a pot shot at a goal from all sorts of distances because we were like camped in our own box, and that goes down to the manager. There is no clear instruction to the player. Just push up ahead. Just don't leave your keeper vulnerable to those shots. And but we keep on doing the same kind of mistakes, and it is down to the manager. The substitution were clueless, especially the Mason Mount substitution. I didn't get it, and it was made right at the stroke of us conceding the third goal, the equalizer. So it didn't make any kind of sense. I mean, bring on a striker at least for Hoyland, who looked knackered. I think he was shot around like 60, 70 minutes. He was completely zapped of any energy. So it was understandable that he wanted to freshen things up. But bring on an attacker. Don't bring a Mason Mount who does nothing. After the Mason Mount substitution, we were just lambs to the slaughter. I mean, we were sitting ducks. We would have considered even more if there was more time, because you know these players, they don't have the mentality, the siege mentality to to toughen it out. They just throw in the white towel, and they did, and it was a humiliating defeat against FC Copenhagen. Going to play ratings, they'll be quick. I mean, there's nothing we haven't seen from these players. Andre Onana, decent on the ball, terrible in terms of shot stopping. He wasn't even close to any of the goals. Okay, the penalty, you can't do much, but especially the third goal, the equalizer, the most pivotal goal of the match. I think he should have saved it. It was right inside the 6-yard box, and he wasn't even close. So not a good performance from Onana. Aaron Bissaka, apart from Hoyland, I think he was the man of the match. He's the most comfortable player of ours in terms of possession, in terms of press resistance. His dribbling, his movement with the ball is excellent. His short passing game is also good. Obviously, his service into the box isn't up to the scratch. But apart from that, I think he was good. One of my problems with Van Bissaka is sometimes he just lacks concentration and just lets his player run before making that last ditch spider tackle. But that's a pet peeve of me from against him. But apart from that, it was a good performance from Van Bissaka. Harry Maguire conceded a penalty. He could have gotten a goal. I think that was a goal. There was not even a replay of that goal. Referee was atrocious for sure. The penalty was stonewall. I mean, you can't make any excuse for that. I don't understand why he handled that ball. Apart from that, he didn't make any kind of defensive mistakes. But the fact that he's so slow, our whole back line just sinks into our own box, and that is a big problem, especially against a team with a numerical advantage. You can't just sit back and let them have all the ball and just invite pressure on yourself. And Harry Maguire has been prominent in all such performances where we collapsed, sinking deeper into our own box, inviting pressure on us, and I think he is culpable here as well. On the ball, he was decent, but there was no threat in the second half, so he gets a low score. Johnny Evans, I think, played decently. Everything was going swimmingly well while he was on the pitch. He got an early injury, I think a muscle injury, so he had to go off, and that did make slight difference because Varane wasn't. I mean, his mind wasn't in it. So Evans gets a decent rating. Dalo was atrocious. I mean, he has a clangor in him. I mean, he's not the quality that Manchester United deserve. I mean, even though he puts in a shift, but defensively he's always a liability, and especially considering that pivotal third goal. I think he's not up to the scratch, and it was another of his clangers, another of his mistake that led to us conceding that equalizer and eventually lost us the match. Scott McTominay started off well. He was running from deep, especially for the first goal. Got the reverse ball from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, squared a good ball across for Hoyland, and it was a good start. He was tidy on the ball. Positionally, he was astute, especially in the first half. But in the second half, I mean, he just loses concentration. He just hides from the ball. He mindlessly runs across and leaving the lines, leaving the structure. I don't think he has a footballing intelligence to play in any kind of possession-based system. And defensively also, he's not aware of his runners, and he loses them easily. It wasn't a good performance of McTominay. Christian Eriksen started off well again. These players are like good weather players. They play good when the chips are up, when everything's going fine. But when the chips are down and when you are stuck with the challenge, they disappear. And that's what happened with Christian Eriksen. Obviously, he can't run. When we went down to 10 men, it was clear that he had to be taken off, and he was substituted by Amrabat early in the second half, and that was it for him. Marcus Rashford, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not surprised. He just didn't look interested to me on the right. Maybe it was petulance. Maybe he was, lashing out for the fact that he was playing on his unfavored position on right hand side. You could see that he wasn't interested. He wasn't giving his all for the team. And even though I don't think it was an intentional challenge, it wasn't malicious. He wasn't going to, break his ankle. By that of the law, it was a dangerous challenge. We can't give more than this to him because he didn't contribute much before going off, and obviously the sending off changed the entire complexion of the game. So yeah, he gets a low score. Bruno Fernandes got an important penalty. He just keeps stat padding his performances. It wasn't a good performance for him. He was losing though. Even after scoring the penalty, there was a move, the counter attack. He won the ball, and there was a simple square pass to Scott McTominay. He couldn't play it. If he had played a simple ball like that, maybe McTominay could have scored, and we would have gotten 4-2 up with 2 goal margin. But he doesn't. He did play on the right hand side after we went down 10 men, but he wasn't defensively aware. Even though people think that he's running around, but he doesn't run around with any kind of plan. He just goes off on his own, playing off the cuff. Very erratic with his passing. Obviously, with the second goal, he did well. Also, in the first goal, that was his ball that was given to Rashford, and then he gave it to Van Bissaka to start off that move. But apart from those bibs and bobs, there is nothing to his game that engenders confidence or engenders any kind of stability to our play. And as long as he is in the team, I don't think, especially as a captain, I don't think that we can ever seriously challenge any of the big trophies. So yeah, that was it. Garnacho played well. I mean, especially defensive duties, he was switched on. He was working really hard. Probably our hardest working player on the pitch. He was the only threat we had apart from Hoyland. I think Garnacho was the most potent of our attackers, even though he didn't get his goal. The second one, which went to Hoyland with a tap in, but he was constantly giving them problems. After going down to 10 men, he stuck religiously to his defensive duties, and you can't fault the boy for his efforts. And also, he showed bits of quality, even though he's not great with close control. But he was somebody that, even at his young age, you could see that he wanted to, execute a plan that was given to him, and he did all right. Rasmus Højlund started out like a house on fire, got the 2 goals. But overall, I don't think he played exceptionally well. I mean, he wasn't good at holding the ball. He kept on losing his headers, especially going down to 10 men. I don't think that he did enough. I think Garnacho was a lot better than him in terms of releasing pressure from our back line. He looked completely knackered by like 70-minute mark, and he should have been like taken off early because I don't think he contributed anything past that 70-minute mark. But obviously, taking him off and bringing on Mount wasn't the right thing to do, and it led to our eventual defeat. But overall, I don't think his performance was that great. Substitutions: Rafael Varane was an embarrassment both to himself and to this club. He wasn't interested. He looked sullen. He looked like he was demonstrating even the pitch. He wasn't interested in the match. And even while coming on, you could see that he gave a cold shoulder to the manager. He he wasn't playing for him, and he was at fault for the first goal, which is crucial because we had just went down to 10 men, and we had to keep a clean sheet till the first half. Even on the penalty, the referee could have given him, could have penalized him for the handball. For the third and fourth goal, also the whole defensive line was completely wrecked. There was no management, there was no leadership. It was an embarrassing performance from Varane. So when Amrabat came on in, what can I say? I mean, he doesn't look good. He doesn't look like he has any quality on the ball. I mean, he runs around and defensively he can give us a cover, but on the ball, he just doesn't look confident like he can impact the match. Maybe he's just finding it difficult to get used to things in a struggling team, but sadly, he isn't providing any kind of evidence to support his case for a permanent move to Manchester United, and it was a bad performance from him. Mason Mount was a complete waste of a substitution. It was a waste of space. I don't understand what he provides, what he gives to this team. So it was a meaningless, irrelevant substitution. I understand that Hoyland was completely out on his feet. He was knackered. He could have brought on, the manager could have brought on Martial or even Pelistri for his legs. Being on Mount was an insult to the fans' intelligence and completely pointless. For the first 30 minutes, it looked like Ten Hag would get his first good score on a red dissection, but it wasn't to be. We started off well. I mean, his initial setup was fine. We got an early goal, which was crucial. Got another on the counter attack, which was the game plan all along. But when we got the red card, his in-game management is completely absent. There is no instruction from him. The whole setup was completely rocked. He couldn't respond. He brought on Rafael Varane, even though he's rattled the player, and it didn't pan out well. He brought on Amrabat, which is understandable for legs, but Amrabat didn't do enough. The Mason Mount substitution is a completely brain dead move. It's completely down to the manager. The capitulation in the end is also in part goes down on the manager because of substitutions. There was no outlet after Hoyland went off. There was no escape for the team, and we were like scammed in our own box. And eventually, they got the two ricochet and the two goals. So the manager has to take the brunt of it, and he gets a low score again. United have lost 9 of the 17 matches this season. Just let it sink in. This is the worst start to any of our campaign since 73-74 season, when we actually got relegated to the second division. We lack any kind of spine, any kind of backbone. Every time we are stuck with a challenge, we are stuck with a calamity, we just fold. We completely crumble, and it stems down from the manager. I mean, he's the one who takes all the credit for our victories, especially the stupid start of 51st to the 50 wins, joint top, which is meaningless because there is no progression in terms of our play. There is no advancement in terms of our ability to compete with other big teams, especially big teams. And at this level, Champions League level, we are completely found out. I mean, we don't belong in at this level. It's clear to see for everyone. The only points we've gotten this season in the Champions League have been that fortunate victory against Copenhagen at home. We didn't deserve even that. I mean, it was only down to the last minute penalty save from Onana that we got the 3 points. All through that match also, we were dominated, completely dominated. They should have won that match as well. Apart from that Carabao victory against Crystal Palace at home, where they fielded a much weakened side, we haven't deserved even single victory this season. So apart from those 9 losses, you can add another 5 or 6 losses. And we haven't responded at all. I just don't understand why is he still in the job, and what can he do to change it. I mean, people say that he's lacking his first teamers in terms of Shaw and Martinez, but they were part of the 7-0, 6-3 humbling as well. They aren't any better. I mean, they might be better slightly, but they can't bring anything new that we haven't seen already. All these players that are missing, we've already seen them. So I just don't understand why we're waiting to make the change. Of course, I know financially it doesn't make sense for the Glazers. They want to hold off. It's also not the fans. I mean, they are just completely fatigued by the same cycle of hiring and firing of managers. So many of them are just resigned to the fact that any other manager that comes in will start another cycle. So just let him be. Just let him rot the place out, which I don't understand. Because why did we make a change with Ole then? We could have stuck with him. I mean, he was given 3 years. Maybe give him another 3 years. He did sign a long-term contract, didn't he? At least under Ole, there was an excuse to be made that he wasn't backed in the transfer market. He wasn't given his players. But with Ten Hag, after £400 million of expenses, there's no progression. There is no movement in the forward trajectory for this club. So I think we are just waiting for the inevitable. We have delayed the inevitable with couple of iffy victories. And if you lose to Luton on the weekend, I just don't see how he survives, which is quite possible because they played well against Liverpool and should have gotten the victory, but for the late equalizer by Luis Diaz. So we'll see what happens at Luton this weekend. Please join us for the Red Prep show for the Luton game. We'll bring all the build up to that and all the analysis of what we can expect from both the teams. So until then, take care, do good, pray for Palestine. Assalamu alaikum.